Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? So today, Thursday, was the final day of Saints OTAs. If you're not familiar, OTAs, organized team activities. They are voluntary. By and large, you have really good attendance. There were some veterans who weren't there, guys like Tyrann Mathieu, Alvin Kamara. Sometimes veterans who might be nursing an injury or just train on their own. It's cool. They don't have to be there. Rookies, dudes trying to make the team. Pretty important, and I would say with the new coaching staff, even more imperative while you're going through a coaching change. Your head coach, as we know, is a former quarterback and is also going to be integral in implementing this new offense, whoever the quarterback's going to be. So a lot of positive work. An offensive line shuffle that we've talked about, a rookie left tackle, moving Trevor Penning to left guard. A lot of narratives there, a lot of storylines baked into these OTAs. So all the on-field work matters, even if it's 3 days a week, over 3 weeks, no pads, no contact, just getting on-field work. So here was Kellen Moore recapping OTAs.
Another good week of practice, another good 3 days, and a little team activity within that. Really appreciate and a ton of respect for the work that these guys have put in. This has been a really good process through this OTA phase, and obviously we'll transition into the mini camp next weekend.
So mini camp is mandatory, so that's when you'll expect to see all of the veterans back out there for minicamp. As a matter of fact, I think he did talk about minicamp. Do you have that one, Muse? He did talk about what to expect next week in minicamp. But yeah, 10, please, if you would.
Minicamp would be very similar to what our OTAs have been. We'll have a few days of that next week, and so it'll be similar structure. Once we get to training camp, obviously, once the pads come on, there'll be a much more physical component.
Yeah, I think it's always worth noting, before you ever have pads on, it's almost impossible. It's almost like 7-on-7s. It's almost impossible to note anything of the offensive or defensive line when there's no contact. You can make much more of quarterbacks and receivers and timing and scheme and DBs and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, for the New Orleans Saints, the single biggest question is going to be about quarterback. Derek Carr is retired. You have Tyler Shuck. You have Spencer Rattler. You have Jake Haener. And Hunter Deckers as well, a distant fourth there, really just a camp arm for now, but we'll see. So all of this primarily centering around Shuck and Rattler. Rattler was started a handful of games a season ago. Shuck is the 40th overall pick. Those dudes battling it out right now. And Kellen Moore did talk about those two guys going through these OTAs.
Yeah, the Qs have done a really nice job. I think their mental capacity, their ability to communicate has been at a really high level, and I've been really appreciative of that, because that's sometimes when you're a younger player, that's a lot of the challenges, is just navigating all that. And so they've been out there competing, doing an excellent job. I think we got a bunch of younger guys, but really good guys. They're wired the right way in that quarterback room.
I do like that a lot, because you do have guys that are trying to find their way, and we've talked about a bunch. There's no veteran in that room, so how do you measure things? And I don't want to overreact. Like I know a week ago with OTAs, there was this whole thing about how the quarterbacks, Shuck hit a couple of 50-yarders and, maybe had taken a lead in this thing. I don't ever want to overreact to OTAs in May or now at the beginning of June. It's hard sometimes for us to keep our emotions and reactions in check in training camp and preseason games. And there's times where guys can blow up in the preseason and earn themselves a roster spot, but I'm not going to overreact to anything now. It's just it's all information gathering right now. And they weren't flawless. And Kellen Moore talked about how he weighs the mistakes that they do make in this early part of the competition.
Yeah, mistakes are mistakes, but we also acknowledge, mistakes are part of this process. We're not to Sundays in the fall. And so, you make mistakes, you get to learn from them. And, hopefully we're not seeing a repeat pattern. That's the goal for everyone.
Bingo. Consistency is a big part of it. So we'll continue to follow along with the quarterbacks as it goes. It was interesting, too, because PFF had put out their grading of the top quarterback receiver duos in the entire NFL, 1 to 32. So, and again, that's who is projected to be the starting quarterback and who is the top pass catcher on that team. And then that duo, PFF graded them. So, for example, number one, this shouldn't surprise anybody. Number one on the list is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Burrow's got a PFF grade of 96.5. His passing grade, 96.5. since 2021, and Jamar Chase is number 3 overall in their receiver rankings in the NFL. So naturally, they're going to be number 1. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, number 2. C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, 3. Jane Daniels, Terry McLaurin, 4. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, 5. Anyway, so you go on down the list, and so you kind of look at where, so I'm scrolling, right, where's New Orleans? Which quarterback are they going to have? And clearly Chris Olave would be the number 1 receiver. And sure enough, it's Shuck and Olave, but they're graded 31st in the NFL. Only Mason Rudolph and DK Metcalf Metcalf plays for the Steelers now. Rudolph and DK Metcalf are a spot below them. And again, I don't think that that's a reflection on Chris Olave at all. Because Chris Olave, the first 2 years in the NFL, was a 1,000-yard receiver for 2 seasons. And he has shown when he is healthy, he's a very capable player. He's a very good. I don't know that I would say that Chris Olave is ever going to be a top 10 receiver in the NFL. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not going to be one of those guys. Even a guy like Puka Nacua, who's had a great start to his career. I mean, some of these other guys, like, interestingly enough, 10 on the list was Michael Penix and Drake London. I mean, certainly Drake London's had a great start to his career, and we'll see what Penix will be, but that is some context for just how far down the list they are right now with Tyler Shuck having not taken a snap. But if you want more context on it, like, Jacksonville was 15 with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas. I mean, the Justin Jefferson, who I would argue is the best receiver in the world today, Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy is 19th on the list. I mean, you're talking about who I believe is the best receiver in the NFL. That tandem is 19th. Malik Neighbors, who was amazing as a rookie. He and Russell Wilson are 27th on this list. So again, all that to say, I wouldn't get too bogged down in the fact that Shuck and Olave are 31st. I think it's just context on the starting point of where they are offensively, and that's where they are right now as they make their way through OTAs. My hope for this New Orleans Saints offense is that this heavy investment you've made in the offensive line, I mean, your last 2 first-round picks have been on offensive tackles. You've got Kelvin Banks. You've got Taliesin Fuanga. Hopefully those are your bookend tackles for a decade. Trevor Penning was a first-round pick. He's a busted tackle, but maybe he can play guard. Cesar Ruiz was a first-round pick. Eric McCoy was a second-round pick, but he was your first pick in that draft. You have 4 first-round picks and a high second-round pick on your offensive line. That's a massive investment. It's time for them to play up to it to keep Tyler Shuck upright. And then you look beyond that. Chris Olave was a first-round pick. He needs to go help elevate Tyler Shuck. You've got a commitment in Alvin Kamara. Kendre Miller was a third-round pick. You've brought in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's their job to take, in the running game, take some pressure off of your young quarterback to help elevate, if it is Shuck or Rattler, whichever way they go. I think it's important, and this will always kind of be my thought on Rattler from a year ago, is I know it didn't always look great, but I'm not going to make any wide, sweeping judgments on Spencer Rattler from a season ago because he was playing with what amounted to a practice squad offense. I mean, when Nick Saldiveri is out there starting for you on the offensive line, when you don't have Taysom Hill, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, when you are a shell of what your offense, your Sunday offense, should have looked like, and you looked more like a preseason roster, hard to judge the player on that. So I'm not going to do that right now, but all this whole OTA thing is information gathering. And hopefully, when healthy, there is a much higher ceiling on this team. We've seen a lot of impartial data that's pegged this team. FPI has the Saints as the worst team in the NFL. Vegas has their over/under 4.5, and I think that's right. I mean, I've told you, that's probably right. But if you're looking for the inflection point, the opportunity for growth, it's a lot of information gathering right now to see, can all the support around the young quarterbacks elevate themselves and elevate the young quarterbacks. If they can, maybe they can be better than a 4 or 5 win team. I don't think this is a playoff team, but could they get up to that 7, 8, 9 win plateau? And if so, now you're talking about something you can build on into the future. OTAs in the books. Next week, it's mandatory minicamp. A lot more of the veterans will be there. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.